Sonic the Hedgehog is a timeless series, but it has a lot of characters. In fact, there are so many characters that even though I'm using 2 teams of Pokemon based on Sonic the Hedgehog, I had to leave out a lot of the more beloved characters. Like this one, and 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 I don't even know what Pokemon this guy can represent. If you have an idea for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment below, and I will use it. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Now let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using a Sonic the Hedgehog team. Of course, the Sonic 3 movie just came out recently, so I thought it would be a fitting time to do this team. If you watched the movie, let me know what you thought of it. I'm using 2 interesting teams for this video, as always. Special thank you to Craft for coming up with this team idea, and I hope you enjoy these battles. Now, I'm gonna lead off with Knuckles here. Knuckles, of course. I think that Sandslash matches him so well, especially with the shiny and like the red. So this is a lead Sandslash. I'm running Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Counter, and Earthquake on this set. So the idea, I wanted to set up the Stealth Rock and potentially get off a cheeky counter KO because I'm running a Focus Sash on this Sandslash as well. But this Mew transformed into me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's an imposter at the moment. So now they're gonna set up the Stealth Rock. I'm like, I thought that they would go for Earthquake, so I went for the counter that turn. So unfortunately, the Mew also set up a Reflect. I was definitely thinking that it was like a lead Mew because it set up a Stealth Rock and Spikes, but I'm just trying to Rapid Spin away those hazards at the moment because like I really don't want to deal with like Stealth Rocks and Spikes, and this Pokemon is really one of my only hazard removals on this team. So I'm gonna set up the Stealth Rock as they Rapid Spin. It's kind of like a war at the moment. I'm kind of facing myself, but unfortunately the Reflect really helped them take the hits from my Sandslash. And I was taking a lot from their own Sandslash, so I get taken out there, unfortunately. Now into Buizel here for Tails. I thought, you know, this Pokemon is really well fitting for Tails because of the Tails. Wow. So they're gonna set up the Stealth Rock. I was worried that they would Rapid Spin away my own rocks, but I was like, you know what? If we both have to play a game with rocks, then I guess that's fine. I'm gonna get the KO with the Buizel. This is a choice banded Buizel. Now the Grimmsnarl comes in, and it's actually gonna frisk my choice band. So I'm like, okay, well, that right away tells me that it's not Prankster. So it's not Dual Squeeze potentially. So I'm thinking that it might be a more offensive Grimmsnarl, and once it starts setting up bulk ups, I was like, okay, well, that's pretty much confirmed at this point. Now, this is a Swords Dance Take-a-Ton for Amy. Like, this is such a perfect fit for her. I'm sure some people have nicknamed their Take-a-Ton Amy at some point, or have just thought of Amy when they see it. So the Grimmsnarl is going to Terrasilize into a Dark type. I'm going to set up my Swords Dance on this. Now, this is a Gigaton Hammer set, of course, but I also have a Hard Press on this, which is interesting. So obviously, Gigaton Hammer, you can't use it like consecutively. So if I KO a Pokemon with Gigaton Hammer, I could go for the Hard Press, and I'm running a Iron Plate on this to increase my Steel type damage. Unfortunately, I'm gonna get taken out there by the Fire Punch. That crit definitely did not matter, by the way, if they were a more offensive Grimmsnarl. But even then, Grimmsnarl just has super high attack, so that was going to take me out regardless. So I'm going to Revenge KO the Grimmsnarl with the Aqua Jet, another KO for Buizel at the moment. So I was like, thank goodness I had the priority in the back to deal with that. Even though they were +2 defense, they were on such a low amount of health that like they weren't going to live the Aqua Jet regardless. So in comes the Vikavolt, which is going to set up the Sticky Webs. I was like, that's a little annoying, but I really don't have a lot of good switch-ins into this Pokemon as well. So I just thought, I'm going to stay in and get as much chip damage as possible against this Vikavolt with the Banded Aqua Jet, which is doing good damage to this. And they're going to obviously Volt Switch it. That's easily going to be enough to take out Tails. But Tails did really good work in that battle. So the Vikavolt is going to Volt Switch out into the Jirachi. And the Jirachi is going to end up having the leftovers as well. So I was like, okay. It's more of a bulky I almost said Deoxys and Jirachi at the same time. Actually, did I call it Deoxys earlier? I hope I didn't. So I'm gonna bring in Eggman, literally Eggman, because it's Exeggutor, right? I'll explain why I chose this Pokemon in a moment, but I'm gonna, the Jirachi is gonna go for the Doom Desire. I was like, oh, interesting, it's a Doom Desire Jirachi. Now, I'm gonna go for the knockoff, and oh my goodness, knockoff just absolutely obliterates Jirachi. So I was like, yeah, this is good, because this is actually my Zoroark in disguise. So Monkey Dory comes in. I imagine that this Pokemon is probably running Choice Scarf, but I am going to outspeed with the Sucker Punch and take out the Monkey Dory. This is a mixed Zoroark for Shadow, and I have Dark Pulse, Sucker Punch, Knockoff, and Flamethrower. So Shadow is currently going stupid at the moment. He's getting so many KOs, but Doom Desire comes out and holy smokes, I just get absolutely walloped by that. But still, Shadow really put in a lot of work in that game, seriously. So now I'm gonna actually bring in my Eggman here. Really, I didn't have a lot of good Pokemon to represent Eggman. Like, I thought of like Probopass, but I don't know. He's a really hard character to come up with a Pokemon for because he's first of all, he's very rotund. So I would need like a roundish kind of Pokemon. And also, like, I just don't know. There's not really many Pokemon that really fit him, in my opinion. Like, I thought Exeggutor was the best because, you know, Execute, he evolved from like eggs, right? So I thought it was like pretty fitting. So anyway, this Exeggutor set is pretty interesting. So I'm running a physically defensive Exeggutor with the Key Berry and Harvest. So if I keep getting hit by physical moves, I could constantly proc my Key Berry and keep getting defense boost. And I'm also running a Calm Mind to help boost my special attack and special defense. And I'm running a Poison on this. So I'm going to go for the Synthesis. I'm going to recover my HP. Now, I noticed that I outsped the Milotic, so I was like, oh, okay. They're going to go for a phasing move here for sure, and they're going to go for the Dragon Tail. So I was like, you know what? That's annoying, but as long as the Exeggutor is my last Pokemon, I don't have to be phased out, and I should be good. So it's a Sonic here for Alolan Sandslash. It was between Alolan Sandslash and Shaman for me personally, but like the spikes on Alolan Sandslash are just like perfectly matching Sonic. So I know I'm affected by the sticky webs at the moment, but I'm Sonic. I don't really care about speed. So this is a Choice Scarf. This is a Choice Scarf Alolan Sandslash. I really couldn't do much to this Milotic though. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna get as much chip damage as possible with the low kick. I'm running Icicle Crash, low kick, Iron Head, and Earthquake on this set. And I'm gonna get taken out there by the Skull. But I thought, you know, I really wanted to do that so that my Exeggutor wouldn't be like possibly phased out by the Dragon Tail from this thing, and I should be able to 1v1 this Pokemon. So I'm gonna bring back in my Exeggutor. I'm gonna take some Stealth Rocks, and obviously I'm gonna be affected by the Sticky Web, which is not gonna matter because I'm very slow anyway. So they're gonna go for the Scald. They immediately get the Bird, unfortunately. So I was like, shoot, well, I don't think a Giga Drain is going to be able to take this out, but I am going to do a lot of damage, and I am going to get recovery back. I was worried that this Milotic was potentially going to be a Miracle. So I thought, well, I am getting the upper hand in this matchup. Even if they go for recover and, you know, recover off their HP, I'm also recovering a lot of HP myself with the Giga Drain, and I could always set up a Calm Minds in the face of this Milotic because obviously it's probably more of a defensive one, and I'm doing a lot of damage. And I'm also recovering a lot of HP, and even though I'm taking like burn damage, and even though they have like leftovers, it's gonna be pretty inevitable for them to get KO'd in the end game here. So I was just gonna keep spamming Giga Drains. I was gonna go for Calm Mind this turn, but they're gonna end up forfeiting the battle there, which I was like, you know what, that's fair. It was gonna be long and drawn out, but I was probably gonna come out on top anyway, unless they get like crits. But that's the end of the first game. Now on to the second game. Now I have my Rouge lead, and I'm gonna frisk their Focus Band. I was like, oh my gosh, what? So I'm gonna go for the Super Fang. This is a lead Noibat. I'm running Taunt, U-Turn, Draco Meteor, and Super Fang on this. So I'm gonna go for the Draco Meteor. Okie dokie just has a lot of great special defense. I assume it was running like more especially defensive, and yeah, Psychic Fangs is gonna take me all the way down to my sash. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna go for the Draco Meteor. I'm probably gonna barely miss the KO, but I crit, and I would have gotten the KO, but the Focus Band activates. Oh my gosh, I would have gotten the KO with Noibat. Who could say that they've gotten a KO with Noibat? This Pokemon has like base 50 special attack. So that's unfortunate. I'm going to get taken out there by the Poison Gem. Now Focus Band activation saved them. So I'm going to swap into my Manaphy. I'm going to Revenge KO this with the Alluring Voice. Now, every single time I think of Manaphy or like Chows, I always think of like one or the other, right? Like I feel like Manaphy matches the Chows really, really well in my opinion. So the Chien-Pao comes in, and they're gonna go for the Sword Dance. I was like, wow, that's really risky because I just went for the Alluring Voice, and Alluring Voice obviously has that secondary effect where I confuse the opponent based on whether or not they get the stat boost that turn. So unfortunately, they're gonna not hit themselves in confusion, and I'm gonna get taken out by the Sucker Punch. That was a Tail Glow Blunder Policy Manaphy. That was a really interesting set. So I'm gonna swap into what the heck? I'm like blanking on the name. But I'm gonna swap into my Registeel at the moment. So this is a pure physically defensive Registeel, and the Chanpao ends up taking itself out of confusion anyway. So I was like, I could have been able to take a +2 Sacred Sword from that. So I'm going to swap in Espeon here for Blaze. I thought it was like a really good fit for her. I'm going to take an Overheat though. Holy smoke, that does a lot of damage to me. And then they end up terrestrializing. I was like, what the heck? Like, they're -2 special attack. I didn't think that they would go for the Terrafire here and go for Terrafire Overheat. That's like super overkill. Now, I'm running a Choice Banded Espeon on this team. Look at that damage. That was amazing. And yeah, I'm going to get taken out easily by this Overheat. This is a Trick Choice Banded Espeon. I have like Psychic Fangs, Copycat, and Baton Pass. His physical move pool really is not good at all. So I'm going to swap in Vector here. I love Vector. I love this guy. He's the only character from Team Chaotix that I included on this team. Now, this is an Assault Vested for Alligator, so I thought that I'll be able to tank any special hits well, but they end up going for Explosion. I was like, what the heck? Well, there goes their Terrestrialized Pokemon at the very least, but I took a lot of damage from that Explosion. Now, in comes to Metagross. I'm always afraid of Metagross having weakness policy. I do have Earthquake, but I really don't want to deal with like weakness policy stuff. And I have a designated switch into my Registeel anyway, which is like fully physically defensive. So speaking of which, I'm going to speed up this portion of the battle because, yeah, we both ended up being Iron Defense Body Press like Pokemon here. So like basically what is happening here is it's a robot showdown at the moment. So we both have like Iron Defense Body Press. I have Sandtube on my set. So Sandtube is going to deal residual damage to this Metagross. Hopefully it doesn't have Rest, but it has Quick Claw, which I was like, okay, well, I don't think it probably has like a steel move like Meteor Mash or Heavy Slam or Bullet Punch, and it had Psychic Fangs, Iron Defense, Body Press. Now this Registeel that I have for E123 Omega, I love the Eggman robots like E102 Gamma and everything, so that's why I included this personally on this team. Also, I just love Registeel, so I ended up 1v1ing the Metagross at the very least. So I was like, okay, that's good. Now, interestingly, Scizor comes in. I was like, what? I'm like maxed. I'm like +6 defense at the moment. But I thought that, you know, if they were going to go for a close combat crit or something, I'm just going to go take a nap. Like, I'm running Rest with the Chesto Berry on this set. So I should be able to take practically anything from this Scizor, even if it's +2. So I'm going to wake up and the Scizor is going to go for the +2 close combat. Still, even at +6 defense and max defense, I still take quite a bit of damage from that. And with their defense drop, and they're also running Life Orb chip, and with my +6 body press, that is easily going to be enough to take out the Scizor. So I was like, okay, that's a really good KO. Now, in comes this problematic Pokemon, the Flutter Mane. This Pokemon is always just such a nuisance to deal with. They're going to go for the Shadow Ball here. Now, I thought, I'm just going to go for as much damage as I possibly can with Sandtube. That was really my only way to hit this Pokemon. And, like, Body Press is obviously going to be immune. So I thought, you know, I'm taking these Shadow Balls at the very least. I just take that one, right? So I'm going to be able to go for another Sandtube here and do as much damage as I possibly can to this Flutter Mane. I got it below half at the very least. And this Registeel really did a lot of work. I love all the Regis. So I'm going to get taken out there by the Shadow Ball. But I thought, you know what? This is fine. I have my Metal Sonic in the back for Iron Crown. I thought it was like the best of the Paradox Pokemon to represent Metal Sonic. So you know, it has like the blue color scheme and everything. And I'm running Booster Energy and Speed because it's Metal Sonic. So I'm running a Terra Flying on this. So I'm not super effective against the Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane is still going to outspeed me. But now I should be able to take a Shadow Ball a lot better. I'm running a Calm Mind Sweeping Iron Crown with Tachyon Cutter, which is going to easily take out the Flutter Mane. And that's the end of both games. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the teams. Let me know what you think. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.